Well, it's time to talk about something very confusing. This video isn't a review. Well, not really. I may give my opinions, but this is an explanation what the actual fuck this TV show even is. Because thanks to George Lucas' incredible mind, we have to talk about it in detail so that people can even follow what the fuck is going on. Okay. The year was 1989 and Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade came out. You know, the final in the Indiana Jones movie trilogy. Okay, happy end. And now, we have the 1990s. And while George Lucas already has ideas about Indiana Jones having to deal with aliens in a fourth movie, which both Harrison Ford and Steven Spielberg hated, George decided, okay, you know what, if Ford and Spielberg don't want to do Indy meets aliens for a movie, I'm just gonna annoy them for the next 18 years until they finally say okay. But in the meantime, I'm gonna make a Indiana Jones TV show. He envisioned it as this big thing, basically TV movies, so to speak. You know, big budget, epic, but it should also be edutainment, which is a fucking terrible word, meaning it's supposed to be entertainment, simple as that, but also educational. People should learn when watching this show. So he made a deal with ABC, and from 1992 until 1993, we got The Young Indiana Jones Chronicles. We got 2 seasons. And the show, it was apparently popular, somewhat at least, but it wasn't what the people at ABC wanted. They apparently just wanted Raiders of the Lost Ark remakes on TV budgets, and so it got cancelled after just 2 seasons. And then from 1994 until 1996, episodes for the 3rd season that were already made got edited together to form 4 movies, made for TV movies, which were broadcast on the Family Channel. And for the show itself, the way it was set up, the first episode was like a feature film essentially, Young Indiana Jones and the Curse of the Jackal. And it introduced us to all the young Indy actors, well, the 2 of them, and old Indy. We had old Indy, set in the temporary time of 1992, telling, these stories from his past. And in this pilot, we were introduced to Corey Carrier as the young Indy in 1908, and Sean Patrick Flannery in 1916 as teenage Indy. And this made sense because the story revolved around an artifact, the Jackal, and that's fun, and it worked just fine in my opinion. And then all the other episodes, most of them would just be 45 minutes, and most of them, not all, would have old Indy bookends, it's what they called. The framing device where old Indy in the 90s would just tell these stories of his past. And those stories would stretch from 1908 till 1910, or 1916 till 1920. Simple as that, easy to follow, and we got a bunch of episodes, 2 seasons out of it, and then those 4 movies. And that was it. Simple enough. And then comes 1996, after these movies were done, George Lucas decided, you know what, we're gonna do a big re-edit. So, for the VHS release in 1999, we got The Adventures of Young Indiana Jones, a complete rebranding and re-editing. And to make it simple, George Lucas and his editors decided to take all of these episodes, cut them up, and put them in chronological order, which doesn't sound like a bad idea. But what happened was, all of the episodes were combined. So you get 2 45-minute episodes, you pack them together, they filmed new scenes and added dialogue and stuff to make them into movie length, which is so fucking stupid I can't even describe it. And they also removed all of old Indy in the 1990s, which is the biggest crime in my opinion, because he's awesome. They also filmed an entire new episode, The Curse of the Jackal. The first half was set in Egypt with little kid Indy. That got reworked into the movie from The Young Indiana Jones Adventures, My First Adventure, with the second half of that being completely new material. Problem there being the little kid has aged, so I think they used CGI and like optical effects in some shots to make him look younger, but it's very distracting. And it also broke the narrative of Curse of the Jackal because it was written and intended to work with like the 1916 indie, teenage indie, Finding the Jackal again. So yeah, there were a lot of problems. Maybe also some good stuff came out of this re-edit, like putting it in chronological order is a good idea. Because the original Chronicles, they jumped all over the place. You know, some stories were set during World War One, then we go back to like 1909. Whatever. Problem being, George Lucas being George Lucas decided, you know what, this re-edit is the only version you will ever get. Because the VHS release, they didn't release all of the episodes in this format, but in 2008 and 2009, I guess, so for the big indie revival with Crystal Skull, the entire show was re-released in this re-edited format under the title The Adventures of Young Indiana Jones. This is the only version you can legally get, you can legally watch online, because the original Chronicles version, the 45-minute episodes with like old indie book ends and everything, is not available in any form. Except on YouTube and stuff, people have made re-edits, like they try to restore the original episodes, which is great, and that's what I would recommend you watch, because that's how the show was originally intended and written. Because even though I liked The Adventures of Young Indy, because that was the first way of watching the show for me and pretty much everyone else, but you can tell it was just two separate episodes stuck together to create the illusion of a movie. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna review the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles, episode by episode, in its original format. This means I will watch the restored versions on YouTube, which try to be as close to the original TV airings as possible. And then after that, I may also review the Adventures of Young Indy, because they do add new stuff in it, and it's worth taking a look at that. Since I haven't watched the entire original Chronicles version yet, I can't comment on what is the better way to experience the show, but I'm sorry, like, my gut feeling already tells me the Chronicles version is better. Like, simply because that was how they were originally conceived, as 45 minutes episodes. Like, with the pacing and everything, and you can tell that when watching the Adventures re-edits. Which are still good, like, if that's the only way you can watch them in the Adventures re-edit, by all means, do it. It's still good stuff. I like it. Young Indy is an underrated show in my opinion, no matter which version you are watching.